Oh, yes. What's going on, everybody? It's Wednesday night. It's 10 o'clock Central Time. This is the last content that I'm going to be doing until the following Sunday, when we go live for Stat Diggers on Pub Sports Radio. So I'm fired up to wrap up my content for this week, talking about this UFC Vegas 65 card. I've got 10 tracked units on this card as of right now. There's a lot of spots I like a lot. I have one max bet on this card, and I'm anxious to talk about it with you guys. Let's talk ways to make some money betting this card. I've got my database open. If you want to talk fights that are going to be going on in future events, let's talk about it. And then let's talk about some of the events that are going on in this card. This is an interesting card. You know, we've got a heavyweight main event that's almost damn near 100% not to go the distance. What are ways that we can make money betting violence on that one? One of the more interesting lines this week to me is this Chase Sherman money line is just getting completely out of fucking hand. I mean, he's plus 185 to a guy that basically has the exact same skill set as him, but much less experience, has fought just less than 3 weeks ago. And also, he's fought much lower branded competition than Chase Sherman has. So there's a lot of really interesting topics we can get into on this card. But I got my prop template up. I got my matchup stats up. I've got my UFC database out here. Feel free to ask me anything about this card so that we can all figure out ways to stack cash tickets like flapjacks and make these bookies cry. And figuratively beat them with a bag of oranges until we juice those oranges, and then we drink that orange juice, which is really going to be really fresh and refreshing and tasty in front of them as they are internally bleed on the ground. So let's get it going, you guys. Who's here with me in the chat right now? We got Daz Files saying, "Oi, hit the like button." God damn it, hit that like button, you guys. I agree with Daz Files here. I appreciate you. Papa Chuck saying, Unk, I want to smash a two-leg. Fight doesn't go the distance parlay on this card. What are three good options for that two-legger? Well, I can give you the main event because that thing is definitely not going the distance. And if you want to make it a three-legger, you could always find whatever website, whatever book has the best fight doesn't go to decision odds right now. And on the main event, that would be DraftKings at minus 650. Well, let me see if it's still there, though. Minus 650 on DraftKings, minus 700 on Caesars, but it's minus 1,000 on FanDuel, minus 800 on BetOnline, and you can't even parlay it on BetOnline. But I would say go that Derek Lewis, Sergey Spivak. We don't really even need to look to the stats on that one. And then let me bring up my stats here. I've got the odds here, and I've got my prop template up. Kudalaba and Cheku is a great option. Let's see what the odds are right now. Fight doesn't go. The best that we can get is minus 260. The best that we can get is plus 300 right now on FanDuel for fight goes. So we can actually cross those and make money by just betting minus 260 for fight doesn't go to decision. And then we also get the same amount on the, well, not the same amount, but we do a mathematical formula. And that mathematical formula will be this. And right now, I'm just going to say that right now, and then I'm going to fix this one. So we could do this formula whenever you have markets that are crossed. And let's say you've got, in this case, minus 260 for the fight doesn't go to decision on BetOnline, and you've got plus 300 for fight goes to decision. I can take, and we'll say it's going to be a total of 1 unit that we bet, right? I can take this formula here, and we'll take X times minus 240. So it would be 1 over 2.4, which would be, where's my calculator? Yeah, so it's going to be X times 1 divided by 2.4. minus, minus x equals 1 minus x times 3 minus x. So this is what we're going to do if we want to arbitrage across the market. We have to take one side and we're going to say, like, if we want to totally bet one unit, we're going to have those two bets have to equal 1 unit. So one side is going to be x, the other side is going to be 1 minus x, as you can see on the ticker right now. And because it's a minus 240, we have to bet 2.4 units to win 1. So we take 1 divided by 2.4. And then we subtract what we're going to lose on the other bet, which is 1 minus x units. And then we're going to set that equal to what we're going to bet on the plus money side, which is going to be the 1 minus x. We're going to multiply that by 3, and then we're going to subtract x from that. Now, I actually have to hide this because that is not exactly perfect. And I've got to put the parentheses around that x. So that for those of you math majors, you know, it's all about the order of operations. So in this case, it's going to be actually 3 times 1 minus x on the right side of that equation. When we solve for x there, we're going to figure out what the x bet is what we're going to bet on the minus 240 or the minus 260 side. Oh, and it's like, God damn it, 1 divided by 2.4. It's going to be 1 divided by 2.6. You're going to have to excuse me, guys. I'm a little bit high right now. But either way, this is now the correct formula that you have to put. It's because it's minus 260. It's not minus 240. But we can do an arbitrage using this formula, and then you can multiply it by however many units you want to do it by. So if you want to do 5 units total, you could do x and then 5 minus x instead of x and 1 minus x. But this is a good way to arbitrage bets. And we have a cross market here, minus 260 for fight doesn't go, plus 300 for fight goes. But that is a very roundabout way of saying that I like the fight doesn't go to decision for Kutalaba versus Nchekwu. And Fialho Salikov is a fight that I like the fight doesn't go to. And right now that one is available at minus 170, minus 165. So we'll say minus 165 here for Fialho Salikov. That one is overpriced by 13.6% when we compare it to the benchmark, but it's underpriced by 1.37% when we compare the 62.26% implied probability to the 63.64% finish rate of these guys in 11 fights at the UFC level. And these guys are finishing fights at a 15% rate higher than what the division does. It's a striker versus striker matchup. Both guys have a ton of power. I think somebody's getting knocked out there. So Fialho Salikov is another fight doesn't go to decision bet that I like. Madalena Roberts is juiced to the tits, but I think that fight does not go to decision. And that would be the only other one I'm willing to go. But I would say if you want to have a cheeky 2-leg parlay, go Fialho Salikov with the main event. And I think that'll get you pretty close to even money there. Let's see here. Wana Hooker is in the room. What's up, Wana Hooker? Good to see you there. Hey, Unc, when you win the election in 2024, who will be your vice president and chief of staff, and which female MMA fighter would be under your desk? Love your shit, Unc. Keep it up. Wow, that's an excellent question. Who would my vice president be, and who would my chief of staff be? So if for vice president, I kind of need like a yes man, somebody that has no mind of their own. That's just going to completely do my bidding, and is basically going to be completely behind the scenes. They're not going to do shit, and they're going to have no power. So I would pick one of the politicians that I hate the most, and I would make them my vice president. And by making them my vice president, I mean I would make them my bitch. Okay. I would treat them like a complete bitch. I would be horrible to them. And it's not in my nature, actually, to be like that to other human beings, but to a politician that's just simply taking this job to climb the ladder because they're a scumbag and they can't get a real job in life and they want to fucking, just draft off the people who actually work for a living. My vice president would be somebody I had no fucking respect for and I wanted to treat like complete trash. So, that's a good question. I mean, there would have to be oh God, man. There are so many lick boots. There are so many losers. There are so many tools that would be worthy of that position. But for my chief of staff, it would have to be somebody that I trusted implicitly, right? And it would need to be somebody that I felt like would rat on other people and be loyal to me, because there's going to be rats everywhere. If I'm going to be in DC with the rest of those scumbags, with the rest of those ladder climbers, those lick boots, those shit heels, I would need somebody that I could trust, and it would probably have to be Brady. It would be the only guy that in this space that I'm trusting enough. I mean, besides my brother, and my father, and the living family members who actually love me and have known me my entire life. And some of my old fraternity brothers that I've known for 30 years, literally at this point. I would say it would have to be my guy DFS by the numbers, because I know that dude gets shit done regularly, that he works hard on himself. And by working hard on himself, he knows that everything that he puts himself into is going to be a better finished product. So I guess it would have to be Brady. But I'm trying to think of just some politician who I just, because I hate so many, but who would it be? Just absolute Nancy Pelosi, and just be awful to her. Just be absolutely awful to her. Maybe I would have to do that, even though I can't stand her. No, I don't want her in the same house with me, though. That would suck. It would kind of have to be somebody that would be kind of cool to party with, but also at the same time, when they're sobering up, I could just ruin their lives. I'm gonna have to come back to you on that, Juan A. Hooker, because I'm sure there's a lot of other questions that I need to get to tonight, but that's an excellent question. And I promise you, Juan A. Hooker, that I will be sleeping on this one because it is an excellent question. We got Bob Spikerman's in the room. What's up, Bob? Good to see you, brother. Saying, Weezy, what's up, my man? Let's set up those UFC BKFC parlays this week and stack them like effing flapjacks. Okay, check it out. I'm going to give you 3 legs to parlay for this week. And then if you want a BKFC parlay, you got to go see my guy, Brandon Olivas. That dude just literally made $1 million off of BKFC. He crushes BKFC. So don't listen to me for shit for BKFC. But for this week, we're going the Brady He-Stand money line. Okay? That's going to be sitting between minus 170-ish and minus 184. We're going to go with the Sergey Spivak inside the distance line at minus 130 here on Bet Online, maybe minus 135. Yeah, minus 135 on Bet Online and on DraftKings. And the third leg is going to be just Jack Della Maddalena. I mean, it's not too wide yet that it's not going to get some value there. But let's just say we did. If I click on parlay here and I find something around that minus 135, can I find that somewhere in here? Minus 135. A lot of plus 135s. Okay, so we're going to do Spivak inside the distance. We're going to do the Brady He-Stand money line. We're going going to do the Jack Della Maddalena money line, and on DraftKings right now, that comes out to plus 226. And then what you can do is you can find whatever Brandon Olivas likes on BKFC, make that a 6 or 7 legger, and then you can maybe even be a millionaire and join Brandon on his Argentinian farm, which I'm sure he'll be buying shortly. So thank you for the question, Bob. Good to see you in here, my man. And he's saying, I'm a bit behind on my tape study this week because I keep rewatching that 5th round, Poatan versus Adesanya. Yeah, man, that was when Poatan got it done, dude. And that left hook is absolutely lethal. And congratulations to Alex Poatan Pereira for getting the job done. That was amazing, man. And also, let's get it, my boy Antonio Plazabat fighting in Glory Kickboxing this weekend. Let's go, Antonio Plazabat. Let's go, man. Antonio Esparza in the room saying, yo, Unc, what's up? What's your thoughts on the over-under at 1.5 for the main event? I think this thing goes under. Okay, so let's look at some analytics there, right? We got a minus 115 on either side, which means that the implied probability of that line is 53.49%. For 5-round fights that are heavyweight fights, under 1.5 happens 31 out of 63 times, which is 49.21%. So you're not really overpaying that much, only about 4%. But remember, there's about 7% VIG in any line, which means that when you add up the implied probabilities of both sides, they don't add up to 100. They add up to about 106, 107, 108, depending on how much VIG, how much, to the house you're giving in each line on each side. So when something's overpriced by about 3-4%, it means that it's being priced fairly on both sides, because that other side of the line that's the other side of your bet is also going to have that 3.5% edge in there for the books. So I think that it's a fairly priced line. But what we can also look for here on the prop template is in the under 1.5. If I were to just remove this number, right, we can see the fighter finish rates is this row versus the implied probability. And what that means when we have a 0% implied probability that between Derek Lewis and Sergey Spivak's 34 UFC fights, 44.12%, this number right here, is how many times that they're going under 1.5 rounds. So once again, you're paying about 53%. So you're overpaying a little bit, about 9% when you compare the numbers to each other. But, it's a Derek Lewis, it's a Sergey Spivak fight, and these guys do finish fights quickly. So I don't think it's overpriced to bet that. And, and I think it's right about where it should be. For 7.5 minutes, it should be about 50% up, 50% down. That's exactly how the books have priced it. I think you can make a case for both sides, Antonio. We got my guy Jazz in the room, and he is saying, oi, question about the next card. Is RDA over Barbarina the easiest money between now and the end of the year? Okay, so let's look at that line. I don't know what the line is right now. Rafael dos Anjos. That's not. Oh, wait. No, that's this card. Oh, my God. He's minus 300 in a 3-round fight versus Brian Barbarina, who's got like 53% takedown defense. Yeah, dude, that's. Wow. Jazz, that's pretty kick-ass. Here, let's do this. Let's bring up a blank workbook here, and you guys can see how the sausage is made. We're going to bring up a template. We're going to paste it into this blank workbook. And I'm going to go to my UFC database, and I'm going to find Dos Anjos and Barbarina. We're going to cut and paste these stats from my database. Oh, wait, we better do this. Okay. Go. All right, well, I'm just pasting these guys' career stats into this database here, or into this template, I should say. B-R-Y-A-N. Nothing. I don't have Barbarina in my database. That's fucking bullshit. Okay, that's why. Fucking bullshit. Come on. All right, finally. So if we take a look at my template here, we can compare these stats for the two fighters. So we're going to see that Dos Anjos is 4 years older. Barbarina is going to be much bigger here, 6 inches of height, 2 inches of reach. But Dos Anjos is a lot more experienced both at the pro level and the UFC level. But there's just an absolute ton of miles on the tires here for Dos Anjos. But it's not like Barbarina hasn't had surgery recently either. So a lot more experience for Dos Anjos, finishing 40%. Barbarina finishing 63% at the UFC level. Barbarina lands a lot of strikes, but here's the problem, you guys. It's the 55% takedown defense for Dos Anjos, for Barbarina, while Dos Anjos has attempted 178 takedowns in 32 fights, getting 27% control time in 473 minutes. That's like 100 and it's like 120 minutes, 125 minutes of control time in 473 minutes in 32 fights. So this guy's getting a ton of control time against the guy who's yielding 25% control time, who has 44% striking defense. Yeah, dude. And then if you look at the strength of schedule, right? Ratio almost the same. Dos Anjos fighting the more experienced competition, better ratio in the wins, more experienced competition in the wins. I like Dos Anjos' experience. I like the strength of schedule. The power numbers are very similar, but the striking defense makes a big difference here. And Barbarina is actually more chinny than Dos Anjos is. But Dos Anjos in a 3-round fight, being able to wrestle a guy with 56% takedown defense, who's giving up 25% control time against the kind of competition that you wouldn't really expect to see him going that way against. I think that it's a great spot at minus 300 and definitely a great parlay piece. MMA Propaholic saying, "Oi!" and get over there and subscribe to my guy Brandon's channel, man. The guy's doing a lot of work right now. He's basically doing what I was doing when I started, which was the balls deep breakdown. He's giving you in-depth breakdowns of one fight at a time, which is something that I used to love doing until it got to the point where it was like, I can't do this anymore because I'm doing so many other shows. So to just do an hour on one fight wasn't feasible for me anymore. But now we got Brandon doing it, and it's something that I think that the community needs of the long form breakdown. So yeah, get over there and subscribe to his channel. Good to see you in here, my man. And Jazz saying, what's the one fight to stay clear of this weekend? That is a good question. I'm staying clear of the Tercios fight. I'm staying clear of the Miles Johns Vince Morales fight because I don't have faith in either fighter in either fight. That's about it. I don't think that anything else is dangerous to bet on. I'm staying away from Moreau's Maya, but just because the bet that I like the most is juice to the tits. I think the over 2.5 is sitting at minus 350. I mean, what am I supposed to do with that? I'm not betting that. So I'm just staying away from that one. But that's my own personal preference. I would say that Natividad Tercios fight is weird because like nobody has faith in Kevin Natividad at this point, but this line hasn't moved at all. Like it seems like everybody's on Tercios, but I don't see Tercios going from minus 155 to like minus 180. Well, I mean, I guess there is some money coming in on him. It's been fairly steady for like the last 2 weeks. It's went from like minus 147 to minus 162, but he opened at minus 185 and then bounced, and then was there for like 48 hours. And then it took a while for money to come in on Natividad, which I'm surprised it even did, but it did. So Natividad's training over at Fight Ready now. He's an Arizona guy, and he's been training at other Arizona camps, but now he's at Fight Ready. That's definitely a step up for him. So we could see some improvements out of Kevin here. I'm steering clear of that one, and I'm steering clear of the Johns Morales fight. We got Jacob547 saying, parlay Jack Della and RDA, and you can laugh your way to the bank. I think that's a good parlay right there for sure. And if I didn't need money this weekend, I'd do that. Bufo on the beat is in the room saying, I think my first comment got deleted, so I'll say it again. Oi, Archbishop Weezus. What's up, Bufo? Good to see you. And yeah, your first comment did get deleted. Sometimes when you come in like really early, it just doesn't, it just deletes. I don't know why that happens, but I appreciate you, Bufo. Good to see you in here, man. And Victor De Jesus saying, oh, yes, what's up, Weezy in chat? Let's get paid this weekend. Let's go, man. I appreciate you, dude. Good to see you in here, Vic. Let's get that fucking Brady Heaston Max bet, man. Let's go. We got Buffalo saying, Weezus, who was your favorite professor in college? Okay, so my first time through college, I barely remember any of my classes or professors because, I was partying a lot and I didn't go to class a lot. And don't really remember many of my professors because if you don't show up to class, how can you remember your professors? I remember bartenders. I remember girls. I remember parties, those kind of things. Don't remember professors. But I did recently go back to school after the markets crashed. I used to be in the financial business. I was a specialist on the floor of the Chicago Stock Exchange. And then I was a head trader for a couple of small investment banking firms here in Chicago. But in 2008, when Lehman went under, we all kind of lost our jobs and we're kind of like, you either went back to school and learned something new or you tried to find some extremely low paying, like bottom of the barrel job in another finance area. But I decided to go back to school, went back to study statistics back at Northern Illinois University. Dr. Polanski was my favorite professor. He taught, Polanski taught, one of my graduate level courses there. And he was a cool motherfucker. His favorite band was Motorhead. He was always wearing like Grateful Dead shirts to class. Really, really, absolutely incredibly knowledgeable when it came to the subject matter that he was teaching. And when you're teaching high level math, there's very few professors that are not going to be very strong on the material. And you have a lot of foreign professors. There's very few people in the United States that study math as hard as they do in other places around the world. So we had a lot of Chinese professors, a lot of East Asian professors. We had Middle Eastern, I mean, like basically everything but, American. And Polanski was one of the American dudes and he was super cool. But like, I mean, I liked all my professors. I could simply name all of them. I thought they were all amazing. Some of these professors teaching high-level math in their second language, when language, especially when you're teaching math, is so crucial. You can't get a word wrong, or you could honestly fuck up your students beyond all recognition, thinking that, they're thinking that a proof it means something that it doesn't mean, which means that they're making improper assumptions at all times. So all the professors that I had were amazing, but, I remember in particular, Dr. Blau and Dr. Polanski were absolutely amazing. My guy Chris for the Love MMA, he's been busy as hell lately, saying, "Oi, Unc and fam, good luck this week. Good to see you in here, my man. I know my man has been super busy lately, but it's always good to see you popping in when you can, brother." We got Jalen Horton in the room saying, "Oi, what's up, Weezy? Appreciate all the hard work you do for us. I appreciate you for stopping by, Jalen, and saying what's up, man. And if you guys could, just hit that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. It means a lot to us. Leave a comment down below. That gets the algorithm to shift more people towards our videos. So please do that for your Uncle Weezy if you get a chance, man. We got Andy Becerra saying, "Oi, what's up, Andy? Good to see you in here." We got Silky B saying, "Did you see the will of Derek Lewis wither in his last outing?" Dude, I mean, these heavyweight fighters, every fight that you take, is against somebody that's just so dangerous and somebody that can absolutely clean your clock. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that after as many UFC fights as Derek Lewis has had, that um, that maybe the will to win isn't where it once was when he first was here and trying to climb the ladder. He's not going to be champion. He knows that. And at this point, he's collecting checks. Spivak's young though, man. And Spivak's hungry. And he's got a skill set that not a lot of people have in this division and that can really set you apart. So, yeah, man, I'm not. Sergey Spivak's Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, everybody. If you haven't watched Just the Tip already, I'm going to let that cat out of the bag because, yeah, I think he's going to get the job done here. I mean, obviously, Derek Lewis can knock anybody out, anybody, including Sergey Spivak. It's not like Spivak hasn't been dusted in the first round before. It's happened. It's happened a couple of times at the UFC level. But in terms of skill for skill, in terms of, which one of these guys is more likely to get their game plan going, I think there's a reason why Spivak is this big of a favorite. And when you see him throw around guys that are even bigger than Derek Lewis with the ease that he does it with, and we know that Derek Lewis's grappling is not where it needs to be in order to survive Sergey Spivak, because Sergey Spivak doesn't go to mount. He doesn't go to side control. He gets you along that fence. He gets a hook in, and then he lands big shots, and he makes you wear his weight, and he doesn't let you up. I think that people get thrown off of Derek Lewis when they get greedy, and Spivak really doesn't get greedy, dude. He'll let you up sometimes too, because knowing that he can just get you right back down again. So, going to be a great fight, great main event. Derek Lewis never really disappoints. Well, no, that's not true. He's been in some really disappointing fights, but like he's always fun to watch. And Sergey, I think, is a good stylistic matchup that's going to bring the best out of him, bring the best out of both of these guys, and I think we're going to see an early finish in that fight. Jazz saying, take Sherman money line or by KO. I would just take the money line. Absolutely take the money line here. I think that they're just very well matched, 50-50. To be honest with you, it's a striker versus striker matchup. They're the same size. They have the same reach, but Sherman's way more experienced and has fought the way better brand of competition. And he didn't fight 3 weeks ago and get his calf chewed up, both calves chewed up, because Cortez Acosta was changing stances against Vanderaa, and Vanderaa was kicking whatever lead leg he was putting forward. So, yeah, I just don't get this finish only prop, which was at 250 earlier in the week for Chase Sherman. He's the better finisher. He finished Vanderaa and Cortez Acosta couldn't. Chase Sherman has finished all but one of his pro wins. 15 of 16 wins or finishes. 94% finish rate, right? Cortez Acosta's finish rate's like 60 something percent. How is he more likely to finish Sherman than the other way around? It doesn't make any sense to me, but I don't know, man. I would just take that money line because I think this one could easily go into decision. Josh Locke saying, what's good, Weezy? What's up, Josh? Good to see you hanging out in here and in with us. Buffo saying, Lewis is out there for a paycheck, and we all know he's not championship material. Yeah, he's not. He's a puncher's chance guy, and this isn't somebody who got an easy 3-fight schedule and then got to fight somebody you'd beaten twice in kickboxing. This is the heavyweight division, and you got to put together a bunch of wins in order to even get a sniff a title shot. We got Jeff K, Chicago guy in the room saying, "Sirs, what's up, my man? Good to see you." We got Jacob saying, "Betting on Lewis fight, you got to be crazy." Yeah, I am betting on it, and I've been crazy, and I've gotten smoked before. I had money on Blades when he got that uppercut. I had money on Dawkins when Lewis slept Dawkins. Yeah, I haven't learned my lesson. I haven't. But I'm going back to the well, and I think Spivak's going to absolutely destroy this dude. Greasy four-legger dropping tonight, says Jazz. I have 3 of the legs. I don't know what the 4th is. But I have 3 of the legs. I suppose I could make the 4th Violence in the Fialho-Salikov fight. I'm going to wait until tomorrow. But I know 3 of the legs for sure. Let's see. The Cuban Assassin saying, "What it do, Weezy? Does the Spivac fight kit come with a cape and plastic fangs mouthpiece? Bring the holy water." Yeah, I mean, it absolutely should, dude. This guy is a vampire. If there's, like, you remember on Rick and Morty, when there was a vampire at this school and they were finding people dead with, like the puncture marks in the neck. And they found out later on that it was Coach Ferratu that was the vampire. And everyone was like, God damn it, how did we know that it was Coach Ferratu? The vampire coach who's actually has a name that sounds just like Nosferatu, one of the most famous vampires to ever live, right? How did we not know? Well, it's like, if there's one UFC fighter that's a vampire, it's Sergey Spivak. I mean, like, you look at you could do a lineup of like 500 UFC fighters, and 100 out of 100 people would have their like shaking finger pointing at Sergey Spivak, going, "It's him. That's the one. That's the one I saw draw blood from my cousin, in Transylvania, like 80 years ago. He looks exactly the same." I mean, come on, man. So, yeah, you're not fooling anyone, Sergey Spivak. We know you're undead. We know you can't be killed. You can be knocked out. You can knock a vampire out. You just can't kill a vampire. And that's all I'm saying, dude. Like, Derek Lewis might win the battle, but he's not going to win the war. Sergey Spivak is going to outlive Derek Lewis. I promise you that. He's going to outlive every single one of us. We don't have anything to say about that. These things have been in motion for literally thousands of years, and there's not a goddamn thing that we can do to stop it. And we can't stop Sergey Spivak. If he wants to draw our blood from us, we're just going to be helpless victims. So just get that through your head right now. There's nothing we can do. I sent a picture of Spivak to DFS by the numbers last night. He woke up crying this morning. He's a strong man. He woke up crying. So, it is what it is, you guys. I mean, how do you not bet Sergey Spivak inside the distance here? You're going to bet against the vampire? That's what you're going to do? Good luck. Gorilla Gambles in the room saying, "My T.O. Weezy, what's up, baby? Good to see you in here, Gorilla. If you've got any fucking questions, you just let me know, baby. I got you." We got Andy Becerra in the room saying, we stoners do not claim Ricky Unk." Dude, I just think he needs help. I think he needs to stop smoking so much weed. I mean, the guy is clearly high as shit. I mean, like, I smoked a ton of weed in college. I never sounded that crazy, when I sounded pretty fucked up at times. I sound fucked up at times earlier today, maybe even just 20 seconds ago. But, Ricky's not making a lot of sense these days. I think him and Tony Ferguson, can just sit down for hours and solve all the world's problems between the two of them, man. We got Diego M saying, "Spivak round 1 sub plus 1,000 thoughts." Okay, so how many times has Derek Lewis been subbed? At the UFC level, only once. He's been knocked out 7 times in his 8 losses. He's been subbed once. So Derek Lewis loses inside the distance at the UFC level 100% of the time. And Sergey Spivak is at the UFC level, knocking people out more than he gets the sub. I think it's just as likely, if not more likely, that Spivak gets the ground and pound knockout as he does get the sub here. And especially if he gets Lewis, where he gets that leg lace and he's along the fence. He's a master of that position of making his opponent wear his weight and controlling the far wrist and then ground and pounding with the near hand. I mean, it's really fun to watch as long as you're not the one in the cage in there with that vampire wearing his weight. His judo's phenomenal. His upper body clinch takedowns and trips and reaps and throws are phenomenal. And he does let people up a lot, but when he gets the position that he wants, the fight ends, dude. Or you wear his weight and he 10-8s you that round, kind of like what he did against Carlos Felipe in the third round of their fight. So, I think it's going to be very clear what Sergey needs to do here. Sergey's not going to box with this dude, and I think that he just needs to be able to close the distance safely to get his arms around him and clinch up with Derek. And once he does, I think that we're going to see him throwing that dude around because he's done it to everybody else. So, yeah, Spivak round one sub I would probably stay away from because he's a lot more likely to knock out his opponents at the UFC level than he is sub them. And Derek Lewis has been subbed 7 times, knocked out 7 times for every 1 time he's been subbed. So, that's just a purely statistical look. And as you know, Diego, it's MMA. It's a heavyweight fight. Literally anything can happen. I mean, Derek Lewis could absolutely sleep Sergey Spivak less than 10 seconds into this fight. It's the ass shaving of the week. It's my read that's not the 5-unit Brady Heastand read. It's the one that I think is going to end violently, and this is the one. So, I wouldn't personally do that, but if you think that he's more likely to sub Lewis than knock him out, go for it. Josh saying Sherman by decision, Kennedy by finish, Spivak by finish, because Lewis is a quitter. What are you thinking? Yeah, I've got a big bet on Spivak by finish. I'm considering a straight money line bet on Sherman by decision, and I bet Sherman's finish only prop at plus 250 because I just thought that he's just as likely, if not more likely, to finish Acosta than the other way around. So, yeah, and then the Kennedy by finish, I like that as well, because Ion has been finished. Ion Cutelaba at the UFC level has been finished in 86% of his 7 losses. So the only one that he was not finished in, besides the Dustin Jacoby fight, which was a draw, it was the Jared Cannonier fight, which was an absolute war. But Cannonier took down him down like 6 times in the first round, but then Cutelaba faded after all those takedown attempts, and Cannonier put it on him in the second and the third. That's the only guy not to finish him. Misha Serkinov finished him via sub. Teixeira finished him via sub. Ankalaev finished him once via knockout, once via Jason Herzog's stupidity. Spann finishes him via sub. Walker finishes him via sub. So Kennedy and Chekwu has never subbed anybody in his pro career, but this might be the first one that he actually gets. But I wouldn't bet it. Kennedy by finish, I think, or Kennedy by KO is probably the best way. But I like all those looks, Josh. And Ice Viking is in the room saying, am I late for calculus class again? No, dude, don't worry about that. This is not calculus class. And I fucked up that formula 2 times before I got it right. But it's just a simple arbitrage formula, an X, a 1 minus X, and then you can scale it to however many units you want to bet. Whenever those clowns out there leave, did I leave that banner up, by the way? Oh, yeah, it's still up there. So let me just put this one up there. Let's just get some help for Ricky Tercios, And then we can also get some help for your Uncle Weezy by joining the Patreon. $5 a month. You get all these stats that you see here on the screen, these beautiful stats. Look at all this shit. For $5 a month, I mean, quit giving those fucks over at Starbucks $5 for some fruity ass, coffee drink when you can give your Uncle Weezy $5 a month for all these stats that I've put together lovingly by hand. But yeah, anyway, I appreciate you guys listening to the daily Patreon commercial that we have here. We got my guy Kiwi in the room saying, Churro, what's up, dude? Good to see you in here, my man. And we got Papa Chuck saying, Weezy, you need to add the arbitrage betting feature to your Patreon. Thanks for the tips. Yeah, dude, maybe I'll just do a little video on that. Maybe I'll do a specific video. I've got to get a whiteboard so that I can teach like Dr. Polanski used to over at Northern Illinois, man. That dude was fucking cool as shit. Yeah, and then just show you guys some basic math stuff for when you want to make money when you see crossed markets. That's a great idea, Papa Chuck. I'll do that. Jester saying, Jack by KO, Sergey by finish, and Fialho fight does not finish. 3-fight parlay plus 400. That gets the bam, Uncle Weezy stamp of approval because I'm already betting Sergey by finish. Jack by KO is super fucking expensive, but if that fight ended any other way, I'd be very surprised because, we don't see Jack really going to the wrestling much. And I believe Danny Roberts is 2 of 11. Or no, I think it's 2 of 18 on his takedown attempts at the UFC level. So even if he wanted to get this fight to the ground, I think it's very likely that he can't. Yeah, 2 of 18 Danny Roberts is on his takedown attempts at the UFC level. So yeah, 11% takedowns. And Jack's being controlled less than 14% of his UFC cage time. And the guy's got a decent ground game, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu pedigree. So, yeah, I think Jack wins by KO. I think Sergey definitely finishes. And Fialho, Salikov, those guys are both really, really heavy hitters. And Fialho is a little bit grittier, and Salikov is just a lot more polished. But they both bring a ton of power, and I think somebody's going to get knocked out there. And we got, hang on just a sec here. We got Randy Fowler saying, Weezy, what state do you live in? And my guy Jester is saying Illinois, Chicago at Randy, and that is correct, Jester. I am in Chicago, Illinois. I'm in North Side in the Avondale neighborhood. Kevin is saying, what up, Weezy? Going to Bellator this Friday at the Wintrust Arena, home of the Chicago Sky. I have no plans to. I have no tickets. I had no idea that Bellator was even here because I don't cover Bellator at all. But my girlfriend is out of town. I am alone here with the dog, and I might wind up going down there for shits and giggles because I would love to go watch some fights that I have no money on and that I have no opinion on, and I could just sit. Actually, that's what I'm doing tonight, you guys, because I don't have to produce any content until Stat Diggers like 10 days from now. And I'm going to be doing a bunch of behind-the-scenes shit here, preparing stats for the next 3 events for the Patreon members. I've got to update my database with last week's stats, update the analytics in the prop template, and I'm making a brand new prop template before the new year, before I update my database with all the new stats. So I've got a bunch of shit that I'm going to be doing over the week off and over the month off. But one of the things that I'm going to do tonight, because I have no content to do after tonight, is just I'm going to put on like some CFFC or some LFA or some UAE War, something on UFC Fight Pass, and I'm just going to watch some fights that I have no money on, that I didn't have to handicap at all, and I'm just going to, because that's something I'm always watching fights from the standpoint of I have to create content around this fight, and I'm a fight fan, but when you're doing it for content, it becomes work. And I just want to watch some fights, man. Just watch some fights where nobody's gonna, I could completely be like, oh, I think that guy is gonna win, and be wrong about it, and then just laugh about it and be like, boy, was I fucking wrong, without having to worry about losing units or losing any of the respect to the people who watch me or whatever. So anyway, yeah, man, I might actually go, Kevin, because I'm free and I don't have shit else going on, and I don't have content to produce on Friday. So maybe I will, man. We got Nigel Lee. He's in the crib, everybody, saying, oh, bitches, I'm in this bitch. What? What's up, Nigel? Good to see you hanging out, man. What's your history betting Derek Lewis fights? After Blades, I got shadow realmed. I gave up. Dude, it's not good. It's fucking bad. Here, we can look right here, because we can look at my history on Tapology picking Derek Lewis fights. Holy shit, dude. 6 red X's. Dude, I'm so due. I'm max betting the Spivac inside the distance because I'm so fucking due. I had Alexei Oleinik submission round 1 against him, and to be fair, Derek Lewis was that close to tapping to that scarf hole in round 1. Missed that one. I had Curtis Blades winning in round 4 via KO, and Curtis got caught. I had Derek Lewis at UFC 265 winning via second round TKO. He lost that fight. I don't know who it was. I had Dawkins beating him. I was wrong there. I had Derek Lewis winning at UFC 271. I was wrong about that. And I had Derek Lewis winning at UFC 277 against Pavlovich, and I was wrong about that. So thank you, Jazz, for calling me out. I'm about to be 0 for 7 if Sergey Spivak fucks this up on Derek Lewis fights, and I am 0 for 6 picking Derek Lewis fights on Tapology since August of 2020. Holy shit. This is fucking terrifying because I have 2 units on Spivak inside the distance. And Nigel Lee says respectfully, always respectfully, brother. I appreciate you, man. Cuban Assassin saying, Chief of Staff, Anthony Weiner, the dick pic bandit. Dude, he'd be a good one. Oh, I could just have so many fucking insults for him. Dude, that's a great call, Cuban Assassin. That would be a great possibility for, well, not for Chief of Staff, but for Vice President, because I need somebody I can trust for Chief of Staff. And I wouldn't want somebody out there sending unsolicited dick pics to minors as my Chief of Staff. As my Vice President, I have no problem because the Vice President doesn't do dick. We got Randy saying, nice, thanks, Jester, absolutely. Brady Stevens saying, what's up, Weezy? Appreciate you, Brady, for stopping by. Josh Locke saying, holy jobless meat walls, Weezy. Did you tell them blood-sucking needle dicks? Hey, man. Yeah, that's true, man. It's true. They are. They're a bunch of fuck. They never had a real job in their life. They suck off of productive people. And they make laws when nobody asks them to make them, other than the people who are richer than us who pay them to make laws that should be illegal and unconstitutional anyway. And most of them are, but we do nothing about it. So yeah, those blood-sucking needle dicks can eat a fat dick as far as I'm fucking concerned, because I don't give a shit about them. And then my guy, Kiwi in the room, ring a ding ding, a donation. I appreciate you, man. Keeping the lights on here in your Uncle Weezy's studio, and they're barely staying on, you guys, but I appreciate you, Kiwi, for contributing to the show, man. LOL, Nancy is a good pick. Get those great stock tips. Yeah, she's got the greatest stock tips. That woman is so fucking corrupt. And I mean, look, I'm agnostic when it comes to politicians. You know, there's one side I do prefer over the others, but I think they're all a bunch of fucking scumbags. I really am an anarchist. I really am like as libertarian as it gets. I don't give a shit what other people do. Just keep it out of my house and don't come into my room with a gun and don't try to steal my shit. And you can do whatever the fuck you want. It's not my problem. I don't get to tell other people how to live, and they sure as fuck don't get to tell me how to live. And that's how I live my life. So yeah, great stock tips though. If you want them, go to Nancy Pelosi. You know, I think that one of the best things that you can do if you want to be an investor. Now, sometimes you're going to be a little bit behind the curve, but you just look for corrupt politicians because all of their stock purchases are made public, or at least the ones that they choose to make public. And a lot of times you can find out, especially when they're taking call option positions, which means they're betting on a stock to go up and they're going to make a ton of money if it does. You know, if you see Nancy Pelosi buying calls on a stock, you got to go out there and buy that stock. Even if she bought those calls 2 months ago, get out there and buy it, because she's not buying it because it's going to go down. Jazz is saying, is Bellator not big enough for Allstate Arena? Yeah, I'm kind of surprised about that, but I don't know where the Wintrust is way the fuck out there. That's right. It's out there on 9094 going out towards like Woodstock and shit. Like it's probably by like Hoffman Estates or something. Yeah, I'm surprised it's not at Allstate, but they might have the monster trucks there this weekend, Jazz. I don't know. We'll see. But I guess it's not, man. Nigel Lee saying, don't talk about Nancy. She gave me a great fluffer. Don't sleep on the OG female politicians. They got to where they ate by doing a little something, something, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I mean, like, whether it's figuratively, doing the old that, or whether it's literally doing the old that, whether it's the men or the women, they've all got a fat one in their mouths. And all those politicians that are at the top of the heap, that there's like a stomach full of cum with all of them. And yeah, that's just how you get to the top. You chug it. You just chug it. And whatever they give you, you take it. And that's why I never got into politics. Your Uncle Weezy ain't into being that guy, man. Go Flamingo saying, sup, Kiwi and fellow degens. Jack Della Maddalena has been smashed on my book. Do you like and props for? I don't like any props for that fight, Go. It's just been too juiced at this point. I think you just take the money line, throw it in a parlay with the main event fight doesn't go to decision, and then find something else you like and get it to even money or whatever. Don't get too greedy. You're not going to make big money off of fights that have obvious outcomes like the Della Maddalena fight, but sometimes you can find two obvious outcomes, parlay it with an outcome where you think that it's got a 10 or 15% chance better than what the books have. That's the way to make some money, but you can't do it being particularly greedy, especially, with like the Lewis Spivak fight. It's hard. It's really hard because there's obvious, like Jack Della Maddalena, they're probably trying to get him on that next Australia card. And the Spivak Lewis is a great main event. And whether it stays on the feet and Lewis, bum rushes Spivak and knocks him out, or whether Spivak is able to throw him around like a rag doll, like I think he will. Either way, someone's getting finished there. But I don't think we're going to be able to make a lot of money off of either fight, to be honest with you. Ice Viking saying Nurmagomedov, Harrison, Alban Mercier, Della Maddalena parlay locked in for me. Kayla and Alban are the following week, though. Yeah, and I mean, like Kayla's as good as it gets. And I don't know who Olivier is fighting, but the Canadian gangster is a very good grappler and very experienced and fought excellent brand of competition. So I'm sure he's got a good matchup, man. It sounds good to me, Ice Viking. UFC Egg is in the room. The guy who's been putting out the probability PRP every week on Twitter. Go check out UFC Egg on Twitter. He does really great stuff on Twitter, dealing with different content creators and the content that they produce. And he takes stuff that he likes and puts the best of it out there for people who aren't watching it. So I appreciate UFC Egg. And he says, oi, yes, what's cracking, Weezy? DK made an error in the Fialho versus Salikov under 1.5. There are two lines, plus 135 and plus 150. My question is, what does the template say about the under 1.5 at plus 150? Okay, so at plus 150, that is a 40% implied probability. Now, these guys are going under 1.5. If we were to take that number out there, we could see 36.36% of the time. And at plus 150, we're paying 40%. So that's a little bit of VIG that we're paying there, but it's a fairly priced line. And if it's 36%, I would say that would be four of their 11 combined fights have went under 1.5, but stylistically, it's a striker versus striker matchup. Fialho walks forward. He's pretty poor defensively. And Salikov, while he just throws one at a time, everything he throws is with purpose and attempting to knock you out. I think it's not a bad look. And especially if you've got the plus 135 and the plus 150, one of them is much better than the other. At plus 135, that's a difference of 2.55% implied probability. So getting that break right there is something that's interesting enough to make you look at it a little bit more. It's overpriced by about 7% when we compare it to the under 1.5 rate for the 175-pound division, which is 33%, as we can see right there. So 33%, 40%, we see we're overpaying by 7.1%. But that also tells us that at minus 165, we were overpaying by 13.6% when we look at that minus 165, fight doesn't go to decision. So it's less overpriced at the under 1.5 level, and we're just getting a little bit less of a metric than we are for the fight doesn't go to decision. So it doesn't particularly bless the bet, UFC Egg, but it doesn't think that it's particularly underpriced. And I think the stylistic components of the matchup say that it's not a bad look for this week. I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for hanging out in here. Josh Locke saying Barbarina is my lock for that week. Best of luck to your bets. Hey, man, yeah, best of luck to you too, man. I've got no money on the fight yet, but I'm very impressed with Rafael Dos Anjos. But he is getting old. Bananas and Grapes saying, hi, Kiwi. What's up, Bananas and Grapes? Good to see you in here. We got Josh Locke saying, but put your banana away, sir. Dan Goldstein is in the room saying, I heard Alex Pereira assaulted 3 airport security guards just to get locked up with Izzy. Shower time with Poeton. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good to see you in here, Dan. Yeah, free Izzy. He got locked up at the New York airport because evidently he had brass knuckles with him. Yeah. The TSA. Should we do a show on the TSA? You know, does anybody feel safer having a bunch of 75 IQ morons rummage through your luggage, you know, with fucking blank stares on their face, knowing that they couldn't get employed anywhere else? Do they make anybody feel safer? I don't, but screw the TSA. Thank you, Dan. Thank you. But yeah, they got Izzy. They got Izzy. So, you know, I'm sure it's worth the fucking $50 million, whatever it is we spend on those clowns every year. David Eldon in the room saying, oi, yes, what's up, dude? Randy Fowler saying, who is better, Michael Jordan or Scottie Pippen? Michael Jordan was better. Scottie Pippen was a fantastic player who was very, very, very underrated for what he brought to the Bulls, but he was playing second fiddle to a more charismatic guy, to a much better scorer. And that really is it at the end of the day, is that Michael Jordan could score and that he had the respect of the referees so that he could wind up getting to the hoop and drawing fouls that other people would not get called. Jordan was getting those calls. So, yeah, Michael Jordan was the better player, but Scottie Pippen was vital to the success of the team because he could do everything, and because Michael would make it clear what he needed Scottie to do, and the coaches were clear on what Scottie needed to do, and Scottie was able to morph into whatever player he needed to beat whatever team they were playing that night. And Jordan could also do that too. As Jordan progressed in his career, he became more defensively focused. The team started playing a lot different style of basketball, and whatever it was that they were doing, it was always working. So, yeah, they were a great 1-2, but it was definitely Michael Jordan who was 1A and Pippen 1B. Goldstein saying Sergey Spivak is that half Dracula on his mother's side. That should be enough to kill a black beast. Hopefully he doesn't get Dawkins. Yeah, man. I mean, but Dawkins doesn't have the grappling game, you know, that Sergey Spivak does. That's the difference, is that Dawkins is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, actually, but we don't see him out there ever really getting takedowns at the UFC level, and that's something that we do see Sergey Spivak doing. You know, it's important to note what Spivak has been doing with these takedowns, you guys. So we see Derek here, and then we see the numbers on Sergey, right? 6 of 8 on takedowns against Augusto in only 2 rounds. 3 of 4 against Greg Hardy in only 1 round. Now, he lost to Tom Aspinall, but he took that fight on less than a week's notice, flew from Moldova during COVID times, and then got his ass shaved in the first round there. Then he beats Oleinik in a decision. Then he beats Jared Vanderaa, gets 3 of 3 takedowns, and finishes him in the second round. 3 of 7 takedowns against Carlos Felipe, controls him for basically the entire third round. He loses against Marcin Tybura. He gets the win against Tai Tuivasa, 6 of 8 takedowns, 261 seconds of control time. You know, when you look at the wins, Tuivasa, Felipe, Vanderaa, Oleinik, Hardy, and Sakai, right? if we take that 397 plus 81 plus 291 plus 509 plus 292 plus 261, that's 1831. And then if we look at the time of those fights, 522 plus 136 plus 900 plus 572 plus 900 plus 494, that's 3524. Sergey Spivak's getting 52% control time in his 6 wins, and that is 21 of 30 on his takedowns. 70% takedown accuracy and 52% control time in the fights that he's winning. And in the fights that he's losing, 3 seconds of control time against Aspinall. He allowed 502 seconds of control time against Marcin Tybura, who's a fantastic grappler. And so, like, basically, Sergey Spivak, 0 seconds of control time in a loss, 0 seconds of control time in a loss, and 0 seconds of control time in a loss. So if he gets more than 1 second of control time, he's won every UFC fight that he's gotten at least 1 second of control time. This guy, if he gets close to you, he is literally a vampire. How many times do I need to fucking say it? 0 seconds of control time in 3 losses. If you keep the vampire at range and you're popping him in the face, he can't get those fangs on your neck. He can't win the fight. He's 700 years old. He's from Transylvania. I mean, Moldova's right around the corner, folks. You know, you can get out a Globe. You don't even have to trust your Uncle Weezy. Get out a Globe. It's not a fucking secret that Moldova's close to Transylvania, okay? They're probably even bordering on each other for criminy. I mean, oh God, I don't know how much clearer can I make it to you guys? Please, let me know. Dan Goldstein saying, Cortez Acosta defends leg kicks by yelling abuse back at you. Sherman's live here. Yeah, he is live here, and this line is crazy. I can't believe he's plus 185. Yeah, he's still plus 185 over here. I mean, plus 180 and plus 180 here, plus 180, plus 180. I mean, it's crazy. 5 books at plus 180, 1 at plus 185. I don't get it. I don't think that line should be that wide. Victor De Jesus saying, hey, Weezy, Madalena by KO parlayed with the main event under 3.5 rounds. I already laid 3.06 units at minus 102 to win 3 units. Should I cash out or should I add 2 more units? Trying to get that money. I wouldn't do either. I would keep it right where it's at. It's a parlay. Anything can happen with parlays, Vic. But I love both of those. I mean, under 3.5, you get Jack Della Maddalena by KO, which is his most likely path. But he might get a club and sub. You know, maybe he's takes his time and he wins by decision. Maybe maybe Roberts kicks him once in the calf and his perennial nerve goes dead and he can't win the fight. Maybe he loses the fight. So I would just leave it at 3 rounds. We've already got that big bet on Stand. We need him to get the job done. I would keep it at 3 units because I think that's an excellent bet. I think that's an excellent parlay. 2 really good, strong legs there. So I would leave it completely alone if I were you, Vic. Adam Rush in the room saying, oi, yes, what's up, Adam? Good to see you hanging out, man. Dan Goldstein saying, Ricky Turquoise makes as much sense as Charles Johnson hairs does. Yeah, dude, I finally just decided, you know what, I'm fading Charles Johnson's hair. It's a terrible haircut. I don't know what's going on back there. I know he's going bald, but like, there's other ways, Chuck. There's other ways. That what you got going on in the back of your skull is a travesty right now, and you're a better fighter than your hair. So I think if people are going to take you seriously at this level, you can just shave your head, just like the rest of the people that are bald. Just shave it. You know, own it. My dad looks great. He's bald. He just shaves that shit. He got a little bit of hair here on the sides. He leaves that nice and tight. He looks good. You know, he's not fucking trying to fool anybody. Stop trying to fool people. You know, and you're not really fooling people. You're really just bullshitting them with that haircut. So stop that, dude. Yeah, I had to bet 1 unit. Jalvis Shumagulov plus 140. His hair makes way more sense than Charles does. And at plus money, I just have to take that bet. If we're fading bad haircuts and getting plus money, the return on investment, you guys, on that particular strategy is one of the best methodologies that you can use to be a profitable gambler this year. You know, I mean, and trends change. I'm not saying it's going to work in 2023 again like it did in 2022, but chances are it will. I've said it before. I'll say it again. If you make voluntary bad choices in the barber's chair when there's no pressure and there's no time limit, you know, you're not going to make good decisions in the cage when another grown man is trying to take your head off. I'm going to get that on my fucking tombstone. I want people to remember that. That's how I want you to remember your Uncle Weezy. Jacob 547 saying, why do they keep giving Kudalaba these gigantic guys? Afraid he's going to get cut after this L. Yeah, they do, but that 205-pound division is fucking terrifying. It's just a murderer's row of grown men, you know, who don't have to go up to heavyweight. They're just big 6'4" dudes who can actually make 206, and they're all terrifying. There's so many of them that are just absolutely terrifying. You look up and down that roster, you wouldn't want to be locked in a cage with any of them. So it's just what he is, you know, it is what it is for Ion Kudalaba. If you're at this level, if you're fighting 205-pounders, you're not going to get any easy matchups. Jacob saying, I get paid tomorrow and this jack line keeps dropping. And it's going to keep dropping, man. I'm about to put my whole paycheck on this man's. Yeah, dude, he's a stud, dude. He's an absolute stud. Dan Goldstein, is that my long-lost sarcastic brother? You got it, man. Nigel Lee, I've been $1 short and a day late on all the live stuff. Being grown sucks, but Izzy didn't rob me of violence, so no complaints, brother. There you go, man. We got Creep in the room saying, Weezy, I want to get started in the MMA gambling game next year. I think, do you have any Uncle Weezy words of wisdom? Look for plus money bets. Look for plus money spots, but really what I guess my words of wisdom would be to start small, right? Find out if you're good. With anything else, you're going to get better as time goes on if you learn from your mistakes, if you look yourself in the mirror honestly after every event and evaluate yourself honestly. You know, if you lose close decisions, but you laid minus 350, you shouldn't be bitching at the judges. You should be saying, why was I laying minus 350 on a fighter that wound up in a close decision? So you have to be honest with yourself. I think you might want to start small to see if you have the potential to be successful in it. And then that way, if you're not successful in it and you choose to move on to something else, it's really no harm, no foul. You didn't go out and put 50 grand in a bankroll and then lose it all and then be like, fuck, I could have done anything else with that 50 grand. I could have got strippers and blow. I could have started a business. I could have bought a car, you know, anything that you could have done with it rather than lose it on Corey McKenna and you know, other fighters. So yeah, start a little bit small, track your results so that there's accountability there and that you can know what you're doing from week to week. It's free to do it on betmma.tips. And trust your own reads, you know, and from there, you know, you just got to be honest with yourself in when you evaluate yourself, and that's how you grow, you know, is to learn from your mistakes and admit when you've made them. Gorilla Gamble saying, T.O. Weezy, what's your favorite food snack for a fight right? Steak, flapjacks, dude, pizza and beer. Pizza and beer, man. If I got a fucking good Chicago pizza in front of me from one of my favorite places, and I got some really good double dry hopped hazy IPAs, man, I am so fucking styling. You know, I could do burgers and fries any time of the week. I could do Italian. I mean, dude, I like so much different shit, but it really, pizza and beer is really the best for me. My guy B from Canada is in the room saying, smashing the like, let's make some money. Gotta be Lewis by KO. Yeah, I mean, like, look, I'm betting Sergey Spivak inside the distance. I think he destroys Derek Lewis, but would I be surprised at all if Derek just fucking flatlined him? Nope. I'm always wrong about Derek Lewis. I picked Derek Lewis over Cyril Gane, you guys. Let that sink in, you know? And poor creeps in here asking me for gambling advice. And I bet, well, I don't think I bet it. I just picked him to win. I don't think I actually bet it. Or if I did, I'd probably put like a quarter unit on the knockout prop at like plus 600. But yeah, look, nobody's perfect in this game. Nigel Lee saying, Dan, yeah, stayed away from the money line on the Izzy fight night, was saved by a last-minute violence parlay. I sent it to @Mushroom as well. Molly under, Chandler no distance, Adesanya no distance. Wow, yeah, in the 5th round, you got that, man. B saying, congrats on the 2,000 subs. Keep on keeping on. Yeah, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Just hit 3,000 followers on Twitter, 2,000 subs on YouTube, so it's very humbling. It's very humbling, believe me. Andy Becerra saying, if you go Unk, you're going to be witness to the execution of Patricky. Really, man. Yeah, I don't even know who's on the card. I think it's going to be Nemkov versus Corey Anderson. And I know that Corey Anderson grew up in Rockton, Illinois, which is not far from where this Wintrust Arena is, out like in Hoffman Estates-ish or something like that. So, yeah, it's going to be kind of like a hometown fight for Corey Anderson, who's fighting Vadim Nemkov. I believe that's one of the fights on the card. But, yeah, I'm looking – it'll be interesting if I do go out there for that. That'd be really cool. Dan Goldstein saying, guys, I've got a fucking hilarious joke for you. PFL is charging $50 for their championship episode. The same people who brought us a pre-recorded live event. Yes, sir. We'll see how many. Boy, that $50, I'll be surprised. Ended up 1 unit. There you go, Nigel. Nice work, man. Is Bleda on steroids? I would have no way to know that. But she's only 20 years old. And she's had 15 fights between amateurs and pros, and she's undefeated. She looks pretty ripped. She looks pretty strong. But, she's 20 years old, what do you think somebody that's 20 is going to look like when they're in the gym constantly and they've been a professional or they've been an amateur fighter and in the gym since they were 15 years old and probably practicing long before that? So, who knows, dude? They all could be on steroids, like Nate Diaz said. So, I have no idea, Randy, unfortunately. Jacob saying, at Andy Becerra, watch that fight in ended in a no contest after a double headbutt. Eye poke ACL tear. Oh, my God, that would be horrible. Dan Goldstein saying, Nigel, I felt that mofo's dirty polished fingernails in my pocket trying to rob me of another violence bet. I had a good night. All this shit I talked on Favola, and I bet him. Nice, man. I hit your Dawson parlay the other week too, brother. My thanks. Nice work, Dan. Good job. Papa Chuck saying, I know that Patrick from Addicted to Combat and Johnny from Johnny K Picks are attending the Bellator event together in Chicago on Friday. You should attend and link up with them. Cappers Unite. That would be cool. I wouldn't be able to sit next to them because they already got seats, but that really would be cool. Maybe I'll reach out to them because I was just watching their show earlier today before I went live. So, that's not a bad idea, man. Gorilla Gamble saying, hell yeah, man, you should go to that Bellator card and enjoy yourself. The card should be a good time. Like I said, man, I'm not doing shit on Friday night, and I got the place to myself, so I can do whatever the hell I want. We got B saying Hardy and Sakai isn't winning. It's treading water at best. Dude, I don't know what to say to that. Did you watch those fights? Augusto Sakai did absolutely nothing. Greg Hardy did absolutely nothing in those fights. So, it's not treading water. He destroyed those dudes. He absolutely destroyed those dudes. So you can't lose to two people named Sergey. It's a double negative. So you're saying Lewis can't lose to Sergey Spivak because he already lost to Sergey Pavlovich. Yeah, Pavlovich, that dude, what a fucking specimen that guy is. That's like the 2022 version of Ivan Drago, man. 84-inch reach. Are you kidding me? He looks like he can bench press a house. He's got fists like canned hams. It's ridiculous, man. That dude, Sergey Pavlovich, is crazy. And yeah, look, Derek Lewis can knock anybody out. I've got my read. I'm sticking to it. I think Sergey's going to cash this bet for me, and I'm going to be up 1.5 units because of it, because his grappling is next level and Derek Lewis's isn't. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes, man. Headley One saying Black Beast going to be coming in shape. He said his back against the wall. Doesn't want to lose 3 in a row for the first time in his career. Derek Lewis's round 2 knockout plus 825. First round defending takedowns. Yeah, probably not defending them, probably getting taken down and then not getting up. But yeah, dude, Derek, if he touches you, man, you're in trouble. But Sergey's conditioning is pretty good. So we'll see how it all goes. It's going to be it's going to be a really fun main event. Jacob saying Lewis is undefeated in the Apex. All those 3 recent L's were in Texas. Yes, he was all at home for his losses and away for his wins. Dan Goldstein saying we joke about Sergey Spivak being the undying, but Nancy could be a succubus from the dark ages. Yeah, now with all the Botox and stuff, she certainly could be, man. There's no doubt about it. Fight doesn't go to decision. All in on that. We got Ansov is crying. I always think of Uncle Weezy as Smooth Jimmy Apollo. And that's the background for my computer, man. I mean, who doesn't love Smooth Jimmy Apollo, dude? Look at that cigar, the lock of the week, the suit, And he's right when he says, when you're right 52% of the time, you're wrong 48% of the time. And it is so right, man. So, that's why when you listen to the touts, you got to realize that they're wrong a certain percent of the time. And for some, it's more than others. We got Dan Goldstein saying, and there he said it. I already said it, so I don't need to say it twice. But yeah, that is politics in a nutshell, or a nut, as it were. I couldn't have said it any better than myself, my man. Don't insult the succubus community comparing them to Nancy. Love it. You can't be greedy on parlays. It's the recipe to lose money. It is, dude. I do these 4-leggers every week, and the first 3 legs cash, and then I get my fucking ass torn out on the 4th leg every goddamn time. It sucks, man. I don't like to bet big on over-unders. I do sometimes, but yeah, man, that's for sure, dude. They can hurt you sometimes, especially when you're laying juice, Nick. There's no doubt about it, man. Nigel Lee saying, Uncle Weezy, you just said what I've been preaching all week. Madalena with 1 or 2 other fights to get even or plus money and hammer it. Don't get cute with this card. Yeah, man. This one is, I've got 10 units on this card, everybody. I've got a lot of bets. I'll take you through my track bets right here on Bet MMA Tips. So log in here, and we're going to go to my profile, and let's see the performance over time there. This line here, the one that just keeps going down, that's parlays, my friend. Yeah, the straight fight picks, the prop picks, they're up, but it's the parlays where I'm getting my ass shaved. So that's why I've been trying to just stay away from parlays. But I've got a 1-unit money line bet on Zhalgas Zhumagulov plus 140 on William Hill. I've got a 1-unit money line bet on Vanessa Demopoulos over Maria Oliveira plus 105 William Hill. And I've got a 5-unit max bet at minus 148 on Brady Heastand over Fernando Garcia on FanDuel, but that line is long gone. The props and parlays, I got the Sherman 1-unit. Scorecards equals no action at big plus money number at plus 250. I think that should be a coin flip line. Chase Sherman is, in fact, the better finisher. So I like Chase there to possibly be more likely to get the finish than Waldo Cortez Acosta, especially since Waldo's coming in on short notice. And then we got Derek Lewis, Sergey Spivak. I've got Spivak inside the distance at minus 130 on Bet Online for a 2-unit bet. So that's what I'm rolling with for this week. That's a total of 10 units. I'm looking to hit all 5 of those bets, but that's not often how it works. So we'll see what comes through. We'll see what doesn't. But if Brady and Sergey Spivak come through, it'll be a winning night for me, and that's all I'm hoping for. We have got Jacob547 saying, I'm going to take Madalena straight up. I ain't taking no chances. I hear you, man. B saying, let's make money. Good night, Weezy Nation. Smash that like. Drop the comments for the cause. I echo those sentiments from my man B. We got Dan Goldstein saying, I don't bet against Australians named Jack. It's plus EV. And I agree with Nigel. I got Jack Violence parlayed with Charles Johnston. I hate parlays, but I don't hate that one. Yeah, I'm on the Jalgas side. But, Jalgas is plus money for a reason here. He's going to be at a big size and reach disadvantage here. Charles has got excellent striking. And Jalgas, while he will mix in those takedowns, has not been a master of winning a ton of minutes on the ground. So I think it's going to be a pretty close fight here. And the thing I don't like about Johnson is that it just takes him too fucking long to get going. I think he's much better suited for 5-round fights than he is for 3-round fights. Headley one saying, I'm backing up the truck on Pavlovich Tuivasa to end in round 1. Yeah, why not? Do you think minus 200? Pavlovich should be around minus 110 since his money line is minus 160. Dude, minus 200 to end in round 1, though? 66% probability? 67, actually, when you round up? I don't think I'd bet that, man. I don't think I'd lay juice for a fight to have to end in round 1. Here. Let me show you something. 2002. Here we go. So I've got the fights database here that I'm going to bring up here that I have in Microsoft Excel, right? And I've got 2013 to present, and I've got Pavlovich Tuivasa. That's not a main event, is it? If it's a main event and you're betting for it to end in round 1, I think that's an even worse bet. Okay, that's not a main event. So it's a 3-round fight. So I'll bring up my database here, and we're going to look at 265-pound fights that are 3 rounds. And they're right here, right? So we're going to get all those. I'm going to copy them. And then I'm going to just put an empty sheet here. We're going to paste them in. And then we're just going to sort them by F and G. All right. First round fights. So that is a count of 102 out of 292. 35% of fights end in round 1 that are heavyweight 3-round fights. And actually, I could have just actually looked at my prop template. I didn't even realize that. But just so you guys know, when you have the prop template, you have those analytics available to you. You can go to heavyweight fights here and see that the fight doesn't start round 2 102 times here, 34.93%. And that's exactly the number I have here on my calculator, 34.93%. So I have the up-to-date analytics here for every possible over-under bet. It's all available for here in that prop template for $20 a month on my Patreon. But yeah, so when you're paying minus 200, you're paying 32% over the benchmark of how many fights that are 3 rounds finish in the heavyweight division in the very first round. And then you would also have to look at Derek Lewis and Sergey Pavlovich. Like if I here, let me just show you this then. You know what? I'm not going to do that. But I was just going to say I could build a prop template for it, but that's going to take a little bit of time. I'm not going to do that right now. But we could find out these guys, how often they go over those, how often their fights end in round 1. For Pavlovich, it's 100% of his UFC fights have ended in the very first round. So that's something that you definitely have going for you in the analytics. But we would have to ask about Tuivasa and find out how many of his end in first round. And Tai Tuivasa is very durable, you guys, extremely durable. So, I would not make that bet, but at minus 200. That'd be too much. Gorilla Gamble saying, Weezy, do you have an early lean on the Ilya Topuria versus Bryce Mitchell matchup? Let's stack them. Topuria versus Mitchell is going to be a hell of a fight, man. But I would need to know what Ilya Topuria's takedown defense and wrestling defense looks like. And I don't know what it looks like because nobody's ever trying to take this dude down. But Bryce Mitchell is definitely not going to be afraid to grapple with Ilya Topuria. And even if he's not afraid to even if he is, he's much longer on the feet than Ilya. Ilya is very small for the division. Ilya might not even be making 145 pounds from here on out. So that's another thing we have to worry about is what Ilya is going to look like on the scales. So I would say that I would be leaning Bryce Mitchell in that spot, but I would have to look further into it. I'd have to build a prop template on that. And just see, but I know that Topuria, nobody's trying to take him down, so it'll be interesting to see what his wrestling defense looks like. Bob Spikerman saying Barbarina for sure going to shave ass, and also Ponzinibbio versus Lawler. You think Barbarina is going to shave ass over Rafael dos Anjos? Man, you can't shave ass over a guy like dos Anjos if you can't stop takedowns, man. I think dos Anjos is going to murder him. Jacob saying, I could see that both are making it to round 2. They're both tough guys. Yeah, they are both tough guys. Absolutely. That's what I was thinking too, Jacob. Nick Rodriguez saying Spivak is relentless and probably running his cycle since coming stateside. Yeah, I mean, who knows, man? But his conditioning is really good. He can get more than one takedown. I mean, he's gotten 6 in 2 rounds against guys like Tuivasa and Sakai. So he can continue to get takedowns just as easily in the second and third rounds as he was getting them in the first. Nigel Lee is saying, Dan, loving that shit so hard. I'm on Jack, Johns, Kennedy, and the stripper. Yeah, I'm on the stripper too. Everyone knows that I never met a stripper I never liked. Nick saying, I'm going to test my mantle about my ability to bet on every fight on this UFC card and see if I come up on top. Yeah, why not, man? It's always good. And you don't even have to bet. You can, as long as you're just keeping honest records, it gives you data, and that data is useful. Jacob saying, I'm not sure if Spivak's a vampire, but I certainly wouldn't accept an invitation to visit his Moldovan castle. You'd have to be an idiot to accept that invitation because it would be you that would be the dinner menu that night. I'm going to have another beer tonight, you guys. I'm going to watch some CFFC or some shit. I can't wait. If Lewis need to rub garlic all over himself, it's an easy win. I don't know if they let you do that, but it wouldn't be a bad idea. He stand ass shave of the week. Yeah, he's not the ass shaving of the week. It's Spivak, but I've got a 5-unit bet on Brady He stand at minus 148. I didn't think that line made much sense. I felt like he should have been minus 225-ish in that spot. So had to make that bet. Thought the line was way off. I think Brady's going to be able to dominate that with his wrestling. I think he's going to stick to him like glue for the first 3 rounds. Dan Goldstein saying, LOL, Kevin, some holy water on his balls to cool him off. We got UFC Egg saying, I bet Tracy Cortez plus 110 for the decision. 3 card. I'm surprised she's a dog. What are your thoughts on that fight? Look, I am a huge fucking Tracy Cortez fan, and not just of the way that she looks, although that's definitely part of it. And Amanda Ribas, actually. They're both stunning-looking women, but I'm a big fan of Tracy Cortez's wrestling, man. She can absolutely get control time, win scrambles. She's relentless with the wrestling, the clinching. She wins a ton of minutes in those positions, and we did see Virna Jandiroba when she fought Ribas get that takedown in the first, get past the submission, and then spend the rest of the round holding her down. Then she let her up with 15 seconds left and then dropped her and won that first round really cleanly. But then Virna just kind of gassed out. And Amanda's got good takedown defense. But the thing is that Tracy isn't going to quit after not getting a couple of them. She's going to keep shooting. She's going to chain her takedown attempts together. Her cage wrestling is fantastic. She's been in the wrestling room with the Cejudos since she was 14 years old. I'm always willing to bet on Tracy Cortez. Absolutely one of my favorite wrestlers to bet on. And it's one of the reasons I have a max bet on Brady Heastan this week. It's that archetype of fighter that I enjoy betting on. The one that is very good at grappling, can grapple for the full 15, and you can count on them to get enough takedowns to win rounds and win minutes. So yeah, I like Tracy Cortez at plus money, but I honestly think we might be able to get her at even better plus money than where we're getting her at right now. But I like Tracy at plus 110 UFC Egg. Pink Floyd saying, same here, Egg. Feel that line's going to move. I hope you guys are wrong, because I'd like to get her at a better price than that. But I think a lot of people sleep on Tracy Cortez. I remember when I picked Cortez as my ass shaving of the week over Melissa Gatto. You go back to that week, everybody was on Gatto. Everybody was on Gatto. And Tracy was the way better wrestler. Tracy was way more experienced. Tracy had fought the way better brand of competition. And even Tracy's striking was on par with Melissa Gatto's. People were just thinking that Gatto was going to catch her in a submission or out wrestle her or out grapple her. And it just didn't work out like that. Tracy won that one 2-1, won by decision. And when it's a Tracy Cortez fight, I would be waiting for that decision prop to open, because you'll probably get plus 150, plus 160. Tracy Cortez doesn't really finish anyone. So I'll be waiting to see what that Tracy Cortez by decision line is. Dan Goldstein saying, shit, I leaned right into the bad hair on Johnston. Liang Nostal, yeah, man, hoping for a different result here. Hey, we'll see how it shakes out, man. He could be the first guy with bad hair to win in a minute. Nacho Buddy, oh, wait, Trezano. Dude, Trezano went in there with an awful haircut on Saturday and came out on top over Sungwoo Choi. So maybe the bad hair is going to go back on a win streak here, but we'll see how it goes, man. The bad hair fade. That's right, Nacho Buddy Chief. Creep saying, laugh my ass off. So, Weezy, you're saying Sean O'Malley's Ronald McDonald hair is an instant fade in his next fight? Yeah, that's the thing. You know, I like Sean. You know, Sean's an interesting dude, and yeah, he's got shitty hair, but if he wasn't coloring it, you know, he's got a beautiful head of hair, in my opinion. Curly, full, thick. He's a handsome kid. There's no question about that. But yeah, you know, I mean, I faded that hair, and it cost me against Peter Yan. But it is what it is, man. Dan Goldstein saying, fun fact, Jalga's record added up total wins and losses is actually the same number of wives he has. Dude's a winner. Yeah, dude, let me tell you something, man. If Jalgas pulls this one off, they're going to be dancing in the streets of Aktobe, Kazakhstan, when he pulls this one off on Friday against Charles Johnson. But we'll see how it goes, man. It's going to be a close fight, I think. I mean, Jalgas always makes it close, dude. He always makes it close unless you get him out of there. So, yeah, Kazakhstan, stand up. If anyone in the chat bets Kuntalaba and goes broke, it's your own fault. And don't talk to me in next week's chat. I will shame you. Do I like deep dish pizza, Uncle Weezy? Yes, I do, man. I used to work at Lou Malnati's when I was going back to school at Northern Illinois. I was commuting out there. So I would go out on Monday and I would come back on Friday. And after classes on Friday, I would work Friday, Saturday, Sunday night from like 6 until midnight, and then wake up early Monday and go back up to class. So yeah, I was working at Lou Malnati's for like 4 years, delivering pizzas there at the Lincoln Park location over on Wellington. Yeah, Wrightwood and Sheffield and Lincoln there. Yeah, so that's where I used to work. So I absolutely love it. When I first started working there, I think I put on 20 pounds in the first 2 months. It was crazy. Had to get my ass in the gym quick. Dan Goldstein saying pizza and beer, the Harvard of the Midwest, it's breakfast of champions. You got that right, my man. We got Creep saying that is phenomenal advice. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thanks for asking, man. You know, I'm happy to share what I've learned over my short journey in this game. And there's a lot of guys in this game that have been doing it a lot longer than I have, and they can give you even better advice. And I think you know who to look for. Guys like Sparring with Reality, like Lucrative, like my guy Brady, like Dan, Best Fight Picks. There's a lot of guys in this space. Cody Saftik, MMA Lock of the Night. Clint. All these guys have been doing this a lot longer than I have, and they could give you better advice than I could. Dan Goldstein saying, Nemkov by violence, Nemkov money line. I'm leaning into the variance of a rematch. Yeah, I'm going to be, I don't know anything about Bellator. I'm going to have to look into it, man. Bleda looks like she is on steroids easily. You might be right, dude. She could be. I mean, this is the kind of sport where you got to try to get any edge you can, man. Dan Goldstein saying, no one can sit next to Pat from Addicted to Combat. That guy needs his own. He's a big dude, man. That guy has obviously been in the weight room. Victor De Jesus saying, let's go. I'll go to the Bellator card, then party at Weezy's afterwards. Let's do it. I got the place to myself. We can trash this fucking place. Get some beer. Get some strippers. It'll be fun as hell, Vic. Let's do it, man. We got Jacob saying that. Damn, I laughed my ass off. At Dan, watch out, man. Anderson is going to shave that ass. He was doing it in the last fight, so be careful. In my opinion, he's going to violate Nemkov like he was doing last fight. What was my pick for Bleda versus Natalia Silva? I'm picking Natalia Silva to win by decision. Natalia has really good movement when she strikes, lateral movement. She's hard to find. She's in and out. She's left and right. So it might be hard for Bleda to kind of cut off the cage, back her up against the cage, and get those double legs that she's going to be looking for. So I think that Natalia Silva will be able to keep the fight standing. She does have good takedown defense. And I think when it's on the feet, I think she'll be doing the better work. But I don't have any money on that fight, Randy. Dan Goldstein saying, Brady would have a meltdown proofreading my shit today. That's why I don't proofread, man. It's too much work. We got Fender Jazz saying, I saw Spivak live, went for a quick pint, and he got KO'd by Walt Harris before I could get back to my seat. Still think he wins there, though. Yeah, I mean, Walt Harris is super explosive. Just my 2 cents saying, sup, Weezy, sup, boys. Yeah, I think the Walt Harris fight was actually his debut for Spivak. Was that his debut? Yeah, it was the Walt Harris fight. And then he goes out there in the next fight and just bodies Tai Tuivasa. Controls him for 261 seconds, lands 23 significant strikes, gets 6 takedowns and 6 advances, and only allows 21 significant strikes. I mean, just absolutely murdered him. What a performance that was. And then he lost to Tabura, and now he's won 5 out of his last 6 fights from July of 2020 on. So, yeah, Spivak has been really active, fighting 3 times in 2022, 3 times in 2021, twice in 2020, and twice in 2019. So, yeah, man, he's definitely on his way up. And look, if there's one thing that we've been seeing a lot of in main events this year, it's the changing of the guard. It's the young beating the old. And this will just be another continuation of that example. Jacob 547, why am I so confident about Brady Hiestand? All right, so when I looked at the tape, Jacob, I saw that Fernie Garcia has terrible takedown defense, and that's a very bad thing. I also saw that his opponents on the regional scene weren't even really trying to wrestle him that much. I think they just found out later in the fights that you could easily take this guy down and win rounds if you do mix in the wrestling. The other thing that I don't like is that he's very heavy on his lead legs, so he leaves himself open to low leg kicks. And guys that have kicked his low leg that are and mixed in takedowns are either losing to this guy by split decision or flat out beating him. And these are guys that are not nearly as good as Brady Hiestand. Now, Brady, the one thing you can count on from this guy is that he's going to wrestle all 3 rounds. My favorite Brady Hiestand performance was against Josh Reddinghouse in the Tough House. And I don't think a lot of people know who Josh Reddinghouse is, but that dude's an OG. Something like 25 professional fights. He fought Morozov in Kazakhstan, or he fought Morozov somewhere in some mountains, like in the Ural Mountains in fucking Central Asia. This guy Reddinghouse has fought all over the world and fought some really fucking good fighters. And he's got wins. Or I think Reddinghouse has fought actually Morozov twice, and I think he beat him once. He's a good fighter. And you saw a kid win the first round, lose the second round to an ultra vet, and then go out there in the third and beat this guy who had 25 more professional fights than him, 8 more years as a pro fighter, and he went out there and he got those takedowns in the third round in a fucking war. Fernie can't stop takedowns for shit. And the other thing that Fernie does is he slows down late in fights. That's something that Brady kind of does as well, but he's slowing down because he's attempting 10 takedowns and sticking to you like glue, and you're wearing his weight. Fernie's conditioning isn't great. His takedown defense isn't great. And even though his get-up game is good, Brady's relentless with the wrestling. So I don't think that this fight stays in boxing range long enough for Fernie to land big enough blows to shift the judge's eyes away from the fact that he's probably going to be controlled for 2/3 of this fight easily. So I think that Brady takes this guy down and that this guy wears Brady like a cheap suit for the full 3 rounds. So I'm just very confident in the stylistic matchup. When I looked at the line and I saw that I could get Brady at -148, it looked completely wrong to me. And I'm much more likely to lay juice and go for that max bet, knowing if I think later on in the week I can get out of the bet, or at least limit my downside. If I wind up getting, let's say I get Brady at -148, but then I can get Fernie later on in the week at, let's say, +175, that limits my downside. I could arb out of some of the bet, limit my downside, and still make good money on the trade. But in this one, it's just a read. It's just the stylistic components of the matchup tell me that Brady's going to win this one pretty easily. Do I think it's more likely that Hiestand knocks out or subs Fernie? Well, the thing about Hiestand is I think he's got as many wins by knockout as he does by submission, and that we know that Hiestand does have wins by finish, but Garcia's never been finished. So we can see 40% sub, 40% knockout here for Brady, but none of that really means anything because these guys that he's beating don't have any wins. Jeff Coleman, 0 wins. Jesse Jacobson, 0 wins. He's crushing cans on the regional scene. Then he gets a title fight against Chan Helger, and he loses in the 3rd round. Then he gets that win over Shane Sargent, and Shane Sargent, I believe, is 0-12. And then he goes into the house. And then we have those wins in the house over Murdoch and over Reddinghouse, which were very, very impressive. Well, the Murdoch one, not so impressive because Murdoch got hurt. But the Reddinghouse one was extremely impressive. And then he goes with Tercios for 3 rounds in a war. I thought he won that fight, but it was very close. I don't have a problem with Tercios getting that decision. But the thing is that Tercios does way more than Fernie Garcia does. And Tercios' takedown defense is a little bit better than what Fernie's is. So, yeah, I believe that Brady's just going to easily beat this guy, Nick. John Smith saying, how long do you think the Black Beast is surviving against a polar bear? Tempted to bet round 2 finish. Yeah, I think this thing finishes under 2.5 rounds. I don't think he lasts that long because Sergey's ground game is next level. And, he's the kind of guy that, the ref is just going to take Sergey off of him, especially if Sergey gets the position that he wants. Do I bet on other sports, says Randy? No, not really, man. I mean, every once in a while I'll throw a little bit of money on football, but no, I really don't. It's all MMA and specifically UFC for me. Dan Goldstein saying, if Ilya Tapuria says one thing about the earth being spherical, he's fucked. Bryce Mitchell doesn't take those kind of slanders towards his mama lightly. Yeah, that'll be fun to see, man, because those guys will have some good shit talk going back and forth. Brady Stevens saying, early parlay, Nicolau, RDA, JSP, plus 127. Not bad. I like that, man. I'm a big JSP fan. JSP, RDA. Maybe I can find a third leg to go in there. I haven't looked at who's Nicolau fighting. Nicolau. Oh, he's fighting Matt Schnell. Matt Danger Schnell. Yeah, I like Nicolau there too, man. That's a pretty good looking parlay to me. Hell yeah. Yeah, Jonathan Pierce, my guy, is -390, -400, -425 against a legend in Darren Elkins. 5 units on Brady. I got him parlayed 2, elbow cough, elbow cough, elbow cough. Let's go, man. Let's get it, Herc. Dan saying, I tail Weezy on Brady earlier on also. Love the grappling upside. Yeah, man, so do I, dude. James Vidal is saying, hey, Uncle, love you. I love you too, James. Thanks for hanging out. No shot Barbarina is shaving anything. RDA by prison tactics. Yeah, I agree with you there, man. Randy saying, if you were to stack a fight in DK Fantasy, what do you think? like a fight of the night, back and forth matchup. I would never stack on a 12-fight card. I would stack maybe on an 8 or a 9 or a 10-fight card. The only fight I would even consider stacking would be Kudalaba and Chekwu, or maybe Bleda versus Silva to get way different. But other than that, man, I don't think I would stack on this card. Definitely not Lewis Spivak, because Lewis is just DraftKings terrible. I mean, he's not good. Weezy, what am I drinking tonight? I've got 2 different beers here. I've got a Hop Butcher Green Moss, I believe, and I've got Over Golded by St. Laurent Brewery that I just found. It was still at the Beer Temple today, so I grabbed another 4-pack of that. That's what I'm sipping on, but the glass is empty, so I'm going to have to get that one filled back up after I'm done doing Ask Weezy tonight. We got Addicted to Combat saying, "Oh, let's watch fights in the Windy City this Friday, my brother. Let's talk about it, Pat. Let's see if we can fucking make that happen, man, because that would be cool as shit, dude." We got Pink Floyd saying probability of injury increases with age. 38 years, shouldn't be minus 350. No exceptions. Who's 38 and minus 350? Talking about one from this card. Yeah, I mean, maybe you're talking about someone from Bellator. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about there, my friend. But yeah, I mean, like, betting on old fighters is not good, that's for sure. Wow, damn, my bad, everybody, for sure. RDA shaves Barbarina's ass, and also Ponzinibbio will shave Lawler. Yeah, I think those are 2 very good possibilities there. Random, any guy that would smash Jessica Andrade would be sleeping with Ricky Simon. They're the same person. I have never seen them in the same room together. Think about it. No, I think you're right about that, dude. It's just Simon's got the longer hair, though. Maybe it's a wig on Simon, but that's a really good point, dude. Sean O'Malley's hairstyle is grown on me. Do I max enter the big DK UFC fantasy contest? No, not right at the moment, Randy. I spend so much time making content that I don't do DFS right now because I don't have the time to do it. So, but I think that some point down the road, I definitely will be, especially after I rebuild my database this year and start to have metrics for every single category by division and compare them to the individual fighters and figure out some kind of way to do this. But right now, I would not be max entering contests now that they've done this late swap, because anybody with some kind of AI that's even decently programmed is going to be at a huge advantage over you. So don't get in the pool with sharks. You're going to get eaten up. And right now with that, late swap, you're going to get eaten up. Trizano won only because Choi showed up with black hair instead of the classic platinum. Yeah, man, that was a fun fight, dude. The double knockdown was one of the coolest things I've ever seen, man. Dan saying Nigel Lee, All Blacks play if you want it. Is All Blacks point margin 13 plus points versus England. I got it at plus 250. This team's not great, but you rarely get 13 plus at that price, and England's not good. So we got a little bit of rugby there, I think that is. We got UFC Egg saying, "Hear you praise Tracy makes me feel even better about my bet. Her line is dropping, though, I bet. Plus 110 on DraftKings now. It's plus 1 up. Okay, so maybe money is coming in on Cortez. That's a great fight, dude. I have underestimated Amanda Hebos a couple too many times. So I'm really looking forward to that fight. That is going to be a high-level flyweight fight. Nick Rodriguez saying Spivak looked like a kid when he debuted. Now he looks like a real Viking. Probably has good money to buy his high-end steroids. Dan Goldstein saying if Miles Johns loses this one, Mexico should petition the United States government to have him remove Chapo from his fight name. Pink Floyd saying, I'm thinking people will bet Cortez after Blanchfield spanking Molly and that Cortez beat Aaron, though that might be what I'm doing. Yeah, dude, and Cortez beat Aaron. That was like a 50-50 fight. You could have had 100 people in that room and it would have been flip a coin. Literally 50 of them would have had Cortez, 50 of them would have had Blanchfield. So, yeah, that's something else. Herc MMA saying apparently Brady is coming off ACL surgery. Yeah, he might be because he has been out for 15 months, I think, at this point. It's been over a year. But when a 23-year-old man has ACL surgery, they come back better than what they came back, than what they were before because they get those things locked in so good. So, and he's a young man. And I remember when we were watching the most recent season of The Ultimate Fighter, Juliana Pena was one of the coaches. And because she works with Brady, she trains with him over at Sikjitsu. She brought him in to coach. So he was in there coaching after he'd been rehabbing the knee. And this was some months back. So, yeah, I think that thing's been healed for a while. And I think he's been training for a while on it, Herc. But, yeah, that's something to take into consideration for sure. JSP going to shave ass. Yeah, man, he's the man. Brady Stevens saying, how does DraftKings work? Never played it before. You take 6 fighters. And then there's a salary cap. So you got to fit under a $50,000 salary cap. And then you get points for significant strikes, for total strikes, for takedowns, for reverses, for control time, for wins, whether it happens in the first, second, third round or by decision. And basically the most amount of points wins. And it's one of those pari-mutuel type of style games where you're not playing against the house. You're playing against your fellow competitors. The house takes 10% off the top. And you guys are playing for the rest of the 90%. So it's really fun though. It's a good thing to dip your toes into the pool, play like these little $1 and $3 contests, learn how to play it, and have fun with it. It's a great little game, Brady. Nigel Lee saying, Uncle Weezy, read my Andrade comment, gold. Will do, dude. Will do. Pink Floyd saying, sorry, Weezy, that was RDA. Okay, got it. LOL, Nigel. Justin Villegas saying, well, Randy doesn't hurt to always stack main events since it's 5, but when a decent fighter who throw more volume, even with 5 rounds, if Lewis doesn't KO Spivak, I doubt it makes it to 70 points. Yeah, exactly. Like if this were to go with 5 rounds of decision, I mean, Derek Lewis probably would score 20 points. The guy scores about 2 points a minute in DraftKings. It's not much. Nigel Lee saying, Dan, I will bet it blind. Last time you gave it was money. Agreed. If you would fuck Andrade, you would for sure play for the pink team. Yes. Nigel, we die on that hill together, brother. Let's go. Jacob saying, if you pay for Andrade's OnlyFans, you need to be arrested. Nigel Lee saying, I will drink the bathwater of Cortez and Rivas and bet them both and just take my money. Full simp on both. I hear you, man. I hear you. You're not the only one with that opinion. Dan saying, if you pay for Andrade and Hannah Goldie's OnlyFans, you need to be institutionalized. LOL, Nigel, either the same soft or hard spot for Vanessa Main Stage Demopoulos associated bathwaters. Yeah, we don't help the patriarchy with these statements, though, is true. Yes. Do I watch any hockey, Weezy? Blackhawks fan. Yeah, I'm a Blackhawks fan, but I don't get to watch any other sports anymore. It's all about the UFC for me. I'm a Cub fan first and foremost. After that, it's the Chicago Bears. After that, it's like the Chicago Blackhawks. I also root for the White Sox too. But I'm in my heart, I'm a Cub fan. And but other than that, man, I remember going to the Chicago Sting games when I was a kid with my brother and my dad. We'd go and we'd watch the Chicago Sting play, the soccer team. But yeah, man, it's been a minute since I've been going to any other sports and watching any other sports besides the UFC, because when you're covering it, when you're creating content for it, there's just not enough time to watch anything else. I make some time to watch football on Sundays every once in a while, but a lot of weeks I just spend Sunday getting ready for Stat Diggers. So yeah, man, I don't get a chance to watch it really at all. Randy's saying, good point about the new late swap in fantasy. These sharks with the AI, they're going to eat everybody up, dude. And Dan Goldstein saying, bro, I'd hit up the club on Wednesday afternoon if I knew Vanessa was on site. She's been good to me. Yeah, and I cashed a finish-only prop on Vanessa against Silvana Gomez-Juarez. So She's been good to me too, man. And you guys have all been good to me. I appreciate you for hanging out here on Ask Weezy. We got 40 of you rolling here live with me right now. I am going to bed soon. I'm going to pour myself another beer and watch some fights that I have no money on. So I am done with content until Stat Diggers 10 days from now. I appreciate you guys coming out to the channel, hanging out. Hit that thumbs up, hit that like on your way out, and I will see you guys soon. Let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC Vegas 65, War Brady Heastand, War Nosferatu, War Vanessa Demopoulos, War Jalga Zhumagulov, and War Chase Sherman. Best of luck on all your bets. God bless each and every one of you, and I will see you guys in about a week and a half. Take care.